Uh, fresh squeezed orange juice. Brendan's got cold
Orange
coffee.
juice.
I've got some orange juice. Yes, fresh squeezed from the fresh market.
Is it fresh squeezed or does it just look like it's fresh?
It's fresh squeezed. It's got pulp in it.
Oh.
Ran out of creamer, so no coffee today. Hey, look, Rob Browne, Memphis, Brenden Martin, Ocala, Florida, Marion County, limestone capital of the world.
Horse capital of the world. You can't say limestone capital of the world. Around here, you'll get run out of town.
I know, but
stop calling it the limestone capital of the world.
But that's what makes it so great.
No,
it is horse capital of the world.
It is. There it is.
Hey, all right, we got a great show. Take a picture with your phone. Got that right? Of the QR code. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We are all over. We do this every day. Got 8 shows on this channel. So it is your hour of power. We'll have Roman Harper joining us momentarily up in Charlotte from SEC Network. Coach Matt Dean in Memphis. John Hartwell talk about his new gig down in Fairhope, Alabama, Baldwin County. God, I love that part of that's LA. And Gary Harris checks in from Tuscaloosa. Got a big one over in Athens this weekend. Keep in mind, Georgia since 2020 is 63-3 against everybody else, 1-4 against Alabama. But Alabama's one of the worst teams in the conference when it comes to running. Georgia not much better. Who can run? We'll cover it all today. So let's get started.
Kudzu and cotton.
Yeah, we cover college football in the South like kudzu and cotton and oppressive humidity.
Is that kudzu? I don't know if it's.
No, that looks like switchgrass or sawgrass.
That's the switchgrass. I'm still learning.
I've walked through that stuff in Iowa and South Dakota for 10, 15 miles a day. You get the stare. All right, let's get started, folks.
We have Mr. Coach Matt Dean in the green room. It looks like my favorite other guest, not to make Matt feel bad, but Roman Harper has joined the program.
Yeah, and Roman, first off, super dad. You've got 4 kids. I've got 4. They're all grown. But, man, I would give anything to be back in your shoes right now, taking kids to school. But first off, you are so kind and generous to share your time with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Got John Hartwell and Matt Dean and Brenden Martin. Roman, SEC came out with the schedules, the 9-game schedule. Your thoughts on a lot of things that have happened, and then we'll get to the big game this weekend. You're going to Athens.
You know, Rob, thanks for having me as always. I hate to even disappoint you. Dude, I don't even know the schedules. I haven't seen it. I haven't looked. Like, I'm too busy. Like I literally have. I don't know who's locks or who. I don't know anything. So you got to tell me. I have no idea. So I'm just over here, dad. You know what I mean? Just I was at basketball till 9:30 last night. I did actually get to play a round of golf yesterday. That was kind of cool. But other than that, yeah, dude, I don't know. What are the disappointments? Tell me that.
No, this is more for 26, 27, 28, and 29. I not really, just some of the games that are going. Alabama, LSU won't be an annual, but they'll review it all in 4 years, and then that's Alabama.
I think that's smart. I think that's smart. LSU and Alabama wasn't always a huge rivalry. Once Saban left Miami and came to Alabama, that's when it really ratcheted up. Before that, it was just another really good team that we faced. But as long as Alabama still plays Auburn and Tennessee, I think that's the big one. I'd be very interested to see who are Georgia's locks, who are Tennessee's locks, because a lot of people want to say Tennessee is their person, like Vanderbilt and Kentucky, but I'm sure they can't have them both if they have Alabama as well, or maybe they do. So, thank you. I appreciate this. Yeah, I could use this right here. Oh, so Arkansas has LSU every year. All right. Yeah. See, I like that one. Florida has Georgia, South Carolina, Kentucky. That's kind of weird. Mississippi State has Alabama every year. Okay. And Vanderbilt, really good. Vandy, Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State. Not bad. Auburn's kind of feeling like, man, I mean, especially the way Vanderbilt's looking right now. Vanderbilt is no longer just a guaranteed win. So I kind of like all these. It's fine. I'm not mad.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that Vanderbilt, they're rising. Everybody in this conference, it seems like, is rising. So yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I know they had the reveal party with I think Greg McElroy and
Yep, Alyssa Lang, Gene
yeah.
Chizik, Ben Watson. I announced it on my show on Read and React Monday, so I
Yeah.
talked about it. I didn't watch it though. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, by the way, anybody out there that has not watched Read and React, if you could go to the Harvard equivalent of grad school to understand football, I'm nominating you for an Emmy. You and Cole do such a great job of explaining all that stuff. I do love that. Audrey loves it. She just, because she likes you so much, she goes, Roman's just cool, and you put things in the vernacular with ease. Matt Dean, I know you got a question or two for Roman, and again, thank you so much for sharing your time. We love it.
Hey, Roman, it's a pleasure to be on with you, and I'm going to go from scheduling to a little SEC, quick swipe. But I had a couple questions about a couple teams in the league. I've been really pleasantly surprised with LSU's defense. I think everyone has been like, wow, Harold Perkins Jr. is back to being Harold Perkins Jr. The weeks. But are you concerned at all about their offense as they head into this big weekend? Because we know one thing about Lane Kiffin. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. It seems like they're going to find a way to score the ball. What are your thoughts on LSU's offense? Because obviously they have a championship defense at this point in time.
Yeah, they're not up to what what the experts thought they would be. Number one, they don't run the ball consistently well. They don't. But that's been a problem since last year. It's not like this all of a sudden just happened. They thought okay, well, maybe we can figure some things out, and they have not. And the one thing that I believe is missing this year is they're not as explosive offensively. They're not making a lot of big play, chunk plays down the field. And when you recruited and brought in the type of talent that LSU did this offseason, you thought that was just going to happen. You can't tell me, that you have this great sophomore running back, supposedly a first-round quarterback, all these receivers that you brought in that all run 4.3s and 4.4s. that have all been productive in college. You got a 6'7" tight end that's kind of hurt right now, but then you got a backup in Bauer Sharp that can come in and make plays too. That your offense is going to be the problem. And the reason why they've been able to win games is because their defense has taken leaps and bounds. Blake Baker and what he's asking these guys to do, it's been really, really good. It's been fun to watch. They've been the biggest surprise in the SEC so far was LSU's defense, and they're winning games because of their defense, not because of their offense right now. So I know Brian Kelly's concerned about it. He's talked about it. He's trying to address it because he understands if they're not better offensively, then at some point it's going to cost them a game. And ultimately, that's what they don't want to happen. They beat Clemson to start off the season, was supposed to be the big thing that they had to get accomplished. And he understands, because he's coached a lot of balls, that, well, you still have to continue to work on the things that we're not doing well in spite of winning. Yeah. Because if not, that's what's going to cost us a game. And so, especially coming into this league play, this game, in all honesty, I know you didn't ask this, Matt, but I'm really fired up about this matchup because it will be the first time LSU's defense is tested with a running quarterback. So last year, the running quarterback, and I know it's a totally different defense, but the running quarterback destroyed LSU defensively. And so how did they adjust to that? I was doing research on this because this is the angle that I'm talking about on Saturday. So I'll give you guys a little preview. But Jalen Milroe had 185 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns versus them last year. Wow. Then Marcel Reed, who didn't even start the game, came in late, only had 9 carries for 60-something yards, but 3 touchdowns. So these are the 2 quarterbacks that they played last year that continually smoked them. And Trinidad Chambliss is exactly what these guys can be, except possibly on a better scale because he's played more ball. He's very smart. He's accurate throwing the football as well. So he's not just a runner. He's a really good thrower of the football too. And then you got to include Lane Kiffin in his play calling ability and what they do over there. I know he's not the OC. He doesn't call it on a down-to-down basis, but I know that's Weiss Jr. So, but, Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, this quarterback, I think it's going to be a huge test for this LSU offense. And I'm looking forward to it because Ole Miss also hasn't gotten to the quarterback. I think they're last in the SEC in sacks. I think they're tied with Georgia. So these are problems that are going to kind of work itself out during the game. If Ole Miss is able to get pressure on the quarterback with their front four, play combo coverage like I know they want, still be able to use a quarterback run effectively versus LSU, Ole Miss win this game.
Yeah.
John Hartwell, jump in here. That's great. I agree with you, Roman. That's
yeah. Hey, great to be on with you this morning, Roman. Hey, I got to ask you a non-sports question. How's my man Trip Rogers doing? I've met you a couple of times with Trip and my Innisfree crew.
Hey, man, me and Trip just knows to answer the damn phone when I call him. That's all he needs to know.
I like it. Well,
he knows I'm in the area when I start calling him. Just answer the damn phone.
That's good. Yeah, Rob, I actually was in Oxford this past weekend and saw Trip's running mate, John Dessler, the owner of the infamous library in Oxford. But, man, I was impressed with Trinidad last week. And I tell you, when Austin Simmons is ready to come back, they're going to have a challenge on their hand because Trinidad, obviously a grad transfer. He's in his last year of eligibility. But I'm not convinced, like Roman was saying, his maturity, his decision-making, and obviously his legs. But I tell you, I was on the sideline for part of that game. He's got a cannon, too, now. It may not be quite as strong as some other guys, but his accuracy is tremendous, and he doesn't get panicked in the pocket. I think the big thing in this game is going to be which Ole Miss defense are you going to see? Are you going to see the Ole Miss defense that gave up chunks of yards to Arkansas? Yeah. Are you going to see one that shut out, not top to bottom is talented, Tulane, but Tulane's pretty darn good. John Summerall, a really good coach, and I still think Tulane has a good opportunity to be the group of 5 team that advances to the CFP playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah, my problem with Tulane is they didn't have any guys on the outside that could truly threaten Ole Miss. Yeah. So that's the difference maker. So when I look at body type, size, Ole Miss clearly had the advantage. And so I knew that game wasn't going to be as close because Tulane's a good team, but they're not. Sometimes you catch a better version of Tulane, a bigger version, or they have guys on the outside that can be difference makers. And so Reslaf, the quarterback for Tulane, was pretty much their whole offense, so he let him in rushing, he's throwing the ball all over the place too. So I knew if they stopped him, they had a chance. So I wasn't worried about that one for Ole Miss. But what you talked about with Trinidad, I think he is a difference maker. If Austin Simmons is healthy, I still think Trinidad Chambliss gives you the best chance to win right now because he gives you a different dynamic as far as with his legs. And I'm telling you, to me, what I've noticed so far this season when it comes to quarterback play is that reps matter the most. Real live reps versus live bullets, live ammo, real game time action. DJ Lagway's struggling right now. It's not just because Florida isn't good. It's because he didn't practice all offseason. And so it's a reason why he didn't have the growth that we all thought he was going to have so far. It's because he hadn't practiced. He hasn't been out there. So everything that we expected him to be doing right now, that should have happened 3 months ago, as far as getting reps with his players, his wide receivers, everybody on the same page. And so everything's off for Florida right now. Same thing with Texas with Arch Manning. He hasn't had he needs more reps. All of these guys, we think they're just going to show up and they got it because they sound good and experts tell them how great they're going to be. But there's nothing like real live reps and making mistakes on the field, learning from different defenses, what they're trying to show you and things of that nature. So to me, the best education on all of that is just getting in, being thrown into the fire. And so he won a D3 championship. Trinidad did at Ferris State. And so I think he gives Ole Miss a really, really good chance of winning because his ability to throw the ball first and foremost and run the football. He does a really good job. I'm serious. I didn't know he had this game, but he's been pleasantly a surprise for me as well.
Well, you mentioned DJ Lagway there, and I just thought I would segue a little bit. I'm in Gainesville, just out of Gainesville, Ocala. Mm-hmm. We cover Florida. What do you make of the Billy Napier situation? It's a very Urban Meyer made comment yesterday about it's a very odd situation. The timing of it's odd. How long does he, stay? Everyone says it's, kind of foregone conclusion. What's your take on all of the mess at Florida right now?
I mean, in all honesty, you called it a situation. I'm like, dude, if you say that, I don't even know what to call it. Look, bottom line is, He was dead man walking last year, right? Everybody had him out last year, and he ran off like 5 or 6 games straight, kept his job, and they kept the whole team together. And so because of that, like,
oh no,
well, you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead. Oh, we lost it. There, and now you're back. There you go. Roman?
You're good, Roman.
Sorry, I think my brother tried calling me or something. Anyways, so like he ran off those 5 or 6 wins last year, finished the season off, came back, kept the team together. But in all honesty, like I don't see any. What is the positive if you fire him now? Like it's zero benefit. Right. It's net zero benefit. Let the guys finish the season out. He's got a really tough schedule. They haven't played well, and the biggest thing is that for me, it just hasn't looked as well. You expected the offensive line to play better. They're not blocking extremely great right now. They're missing too many key blocks. Jaden Ball, you need to lean on him more. I know that's easier said than done, but they got to do that. And DJ Lagway has to find his way. And it came off of play action passes last year, so we got to try and build that back up. Defensively, they're battling their butts off. They really are. They're playing really hard on defense. And for me, I just hate to see it because when you're playing really hard as a defense, it's a team thing. So I want to do my job, my 111 to make sure, I'm helping my teammates out. Well, that's easier. That's easy to do when we're winning games and early in the season. But once we start losing games and now our guys going to start to be more selfish and like, dude, I'm trying to get mine. And I am a little bit concerned with that defensively, but they got a tough one, man. But they need to win a game. Ultimately, they need to win a game and get better vibes.
All right, SEC Nation, you're heading down to Athens, the classic city this weekend. Interesting stat I saw on SEC Network this morning with Alyssa and Coach Chiswick. Georgia since 2020, 63-3 against everybody else, against God and Alabama, 1-4. And it's kind of it's a tough one, man. 1-9 in the last 10. Roman, I pride on the fact that, you told me you grew up with 3 older brothers. You're a tough guy. But you're honest. What do you think happens? Because Alabama, this offensive line isn't what I thought it would be. And Georgia gave up 41 points on the road against Tennessee, and Aguilar passed for about 385. I'm having a hard time getting a read on this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Rob. I think this, first of all, I just, from the bottom of my heart, I think this game could go 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about all the emotions of Jackson Arnold going back to Oklahoma and playing in that game. All those emotions, this, that, and the other. That's just one player. I think this is emotions of a whole team, a whole state. I hear all the Georgia fans. I mean, even one of my good friends, he's like, dude, we sound crazy. He's like, we're sitting up here asking, can Kirby Smart in Georgia handle the moment or rise to the occasion? They've lost one game at home since 2019. One. And they're like, dude, I don't know if we can do it. I'm like, they sound crazy.
Yeah.
They sound crazy.
They do.
And they understand that, and it's because of exactly what you said. And so is it truly that Alabama just beats Georgia? It's sometimes in things in life, like I've been out lifting. You talked about it. I got 2 had 3 older brothers. I got 2 now. I've been lifting weights. I've been working out. I think it's time I can beat my older brother. But at the end of the day, I still got to do it.
That's right.
Still got to do it. And for me, Alabama's offensive line, they have not ran block as well. It's a lot of what we talked about with LSU, right? It's a concern. Yeah. But it's less concerning because Alabama still is explosive offensively. They're still creating big chunk plays in the pass game, in the offense, and they're doing it on their own way and style that they want to do it. So that's the difference. And we saw that Georgia's not they're not unbreakable defensively. They can be broken. Yeah. And so you can throw the ball downfield on them. You can attack them in different ways. And the difference between Georgia and a lot of other guys, and look, and I say this with respect, is that Georgia's not changing. Yeah. Georgia's not going to change their defense. They look the exact same defense as they did when Kirby Smart showed up there, the way that Kirby Smart brought it down when he left Nick Saban, right? They look the exact same. Same thing can be said about Ole Miss and what Petey what Pete Golden does. All right, a lot of similarities in these defenses. So they're not going to change their defense. They just go recruit better.
Yeah.
And so if this is the time or what Georgia's presenting for you, you got to be able to take advantage of it. And so Georgia, according to Cole Cubic, is tied for 115th in the country in sacks by their D-line. Very hard to see. You know how many sacks they have by their D-linemen this year, Rob?
Georgia?
Yes.
One?
0.
Wow. Okay.
So their linebackers are the ones that are creating pressure, and that's fine. That's totally fine. They've always had that type of element. But are you going to have to blitz to be able to get pressure every single time? And if you do, what does Alabama do? Alabama going to do to counteract that? I showed a play on React where I thought it was a beautiful job of Alabama setting up. We're not going to get as many guys out in the route because we still feel like our wide receivers are all NFL guys and they will win one-on-one battles. Yeah. And so as long as Ty Simpson is comfortable, he's played well. Yeah. So I got to make sure he's comfortable first and then go out there and be able to execute the offense. The offense will execute itself if Ty is comfortable. And so that's what they're trying to make sure they do and eliminate all the pressure up front. Maybe if it takes keeping guys in to do that, you got to do that and then let your wide receivers go win one-on-ones because clearly you got to test and see how Georgia's defensive secondary will continue to react after giving up a lot of chunk plays versus Tennessee 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to see what my friend Johnny Haygood's buddy, Yancey Pierre from Barber County, Eufaula, does on the edge for Alabama because he always, every time I talk to Johnny, he's talking about him. But, Matt, jump in here with a question for Roman Harper, and this is great talk about Bama, Georgia, and all these SEC matchups because there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Roman, I'm an old basketball coach, and one of the things we talk about in conference play is the season doesn't really start until you lose a home conference game. So my take on this, I can go many different directions, but I think there's a lot more pressure on Georgia to win this game because they're playing at Athens. And if Bama plays well and they come up short, I still see a path for them. As long as Florida State plays well this year, that loss gets better. I still think Bama
every week.
That's right. I think Bama at 9-3 will go to the college football playoff. I may be crazy, but I really believe that. So I think it's a matter of execution, making sure in the fourth quarter you have a chance to win the game. I think Georgia's got to win this game because if they don't, I think my reverse theory means, hey, does Georgia get in at 9-3 with a home loss to Alabama? I'm not sure, So I think the pressure's on the Bulldogs big time.
Oh, the pressure's definitely on Georgia. Number one, it's at home, exactly like you said. But then it's also the pressure of like, man, can they actually beat Alabama? It's a lot of different outside factors, like we talked about with the emotions of this game. But it's going to be really, really cool. I also want to see how Alabama intends to stop Georgia offensively because they showed us a different element to their game 2 weeks ago. I didn't think that they could throw the football all over the ballpark and use Gunnar Stockton's legs better than what Mike Bobo traditionally does with using the running quarterback. So that's another added dimension to their offense that they're using now. So this Georgia team is really, really good. They look different. But I think a lot of teams in college football space look different than what they did a couple years ago. And for right now, I think it's a huge opportunity for Georgia if they win this game to really kind of take that monkey off their back, I guess, if you can say that.
Yeah.
But then also for Alabama, if they go out there and beat Georgia, like that Florida State loss, nobody even cares about it. It literally doesn't even matter. And as a matter of fact, it's actually kind of like an added bonus because if this is our one loss, this one loss looks really good right now, especially because they're going to play Miami in another week. And don't let them win that game. Now, Miami's a top 2 or 3 school. Florida State's going to now be a top 3 school. And your loss was on the road by 1 touchdown to a top 3 school. So it just keep room for Florida State if you're Alabama.
John Hartwell.
Hey, sorry about that, guys. My dog's in the background going crazy, and this is not a Mississippi State or a Georgia segment. So, but yeah, it's crazy because everybody after week 1 was writing Alabama off. Kalen DeBoer can't play. Kane Womack can't coach. Those guys got to go. Alabama is still Alabama. I know Roman downplays it a little bit, a prideful alum, but Alabama is Alabama, and man, I would not count the Tide out between the hedges this week. I mean, I think, like you said, they have nothing to lose. Georgia's going to feel the pressure of it, and I like the Tide on the road. I really do.
No, I'm not mad at that either. I think it's kind of set up perfect for Alabama because they're still the underdog.
Yeah.
You know, they're the underdog. Everybody knows it's on Georgia. Is Georgia talking about blacking it out and all that other stuff? I hope not.
Hadn't decided yet. Yeah.
No, Kirby don't want none of that. Kirby does not want that. That's all administrative. Trying to get tickets and everybody hype. Kirby just like, bro, I just want to play the game.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting though. I'm just really excited because this is the first time, in all honesty, my SEC Nation will be there. And this is the first big battle of the Titans, right? And the standard of the SEC, everybody wants it to change and thinks it's moved, but truly it really hasn't. Georgia's still the standard for what it's been the last couple of years. And Alabama, you cannot, you can't just swat at and say like, oh, go away, because they're still there too. And so it's going to be really, really good. It's the first big battle of the Titans where one will fall, one will stand, and we'll keep it moving on going forward. And I'm really excited to just be there in that environment. It's going to be a night game, so Athens is going to be buzzing Friday, Thursday night. It's going to be on. And I'm just really, really fired up to get down there later on tonight.
Roman, sorry, Rob. I don't mean to make Rob cringe on this one, but I know he will a little bit. I want to get your take on the officiating blunder in Norman last weekend and kind of how the SEC has handled that. Obviously, that was a play early in the game, but it was impactful, just like as a coach, a kicker misses a kick, something like that. It doesn't come down to one play, but damn, that was a pretty important play. Give me your take on that and kind of how the SEC has handled it.
Well, on the last sentence you said, I would probably disagree with you on that because Tennessee kicker that missed the kick versus Georgia, they feel like it came down to one play. The difference between them beating Alabama a couple years ago and them losing to Georgia was that the kicker made the kick.
Yeah.
And so it does come down to one play sometimes. And so I'm not a believer of that. But I'm a defensive back. I play safety. I played safety. So I've seen teams use that play. And you have to be aware when guys are leaving off the field. For me, it's just a learning opportunity. Like I don't feel bad. I know the refs and everybody said like it's an illegal play, so everybody wants to throw their hands up. But as a secondary player, you got to be paying attention. You can't be like that locked in where you're not seeing somebody standing over here by the sidelines. You allow somebody to be wide open down there. So I've seen it. I've seen a lot of teams try and execute it where you go inside the numbers and then you come back off like, oh, I'm trying to get subbed out, and they don't. So like for me, it's got to be a learning experience. You can't allow that to happen because ultimately if they don't score, then, do the refs. It didn't matter at the end of the day. Like for me, like it's crying over spilled milk. Like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like Auburn didn't come back and take the lead later on.
Yeah.
With like a minute and something left and then let John Mateer march it back down there, or when you guys had a chance to at least move the ball. Jackson Arnold held onto the ball, took 2 or 3 sacks on the last drive, including a safety, which allowed Oklahoma to cover the backdoor cover.
Lane Kiffin was happy.
Yeah. You know what I mean? The backdoor cover. How about that one play? That made a lot of people mad. So, like, if you want to talk about it, then like talk about the whole thing because I couldn't believe that play. I'm like, okay, Auburn gonna cover, and then safety. What? Just because Jackson Arnold held the ball too long. Who was he waiting on to get open? I don't know. I watched the tape. I'm like, what is he waiting on? Throw the ball. Throw the ball. So Auburn has room to improve. They played well. They played hard. The one benefit that I took away from Auburn was that they were better on first and second down defensively. To me, that was coming into it. They have to win on first and second down to put Oklahoma in worse third down situations. The reason why Auburn had struggled to cover guys all year was that they were losing on first down. Only Keldrick Falk had made plays on first or second down to put teams in negative situations so then they could win more third downs. I thought they did an outstanding job versus Oklahoma, and that was why they had a chance to win that game. But ultimately, it was always going to be a hard game because to win on the road in Norman is a lot like winning on the road in Auburn. Weird things happen at both places. You know, they call it Sooner magic up there. I played up there. I've seen wild stuff happen. And I just know how tough it is. And I know how tough it is to win at Auburn, too. They're kind of like the same. And people don't want to, I know they don't realize that, but it's a lot of similarities.
Yeah. Another one, and John, I know you got to go, but Roman, if you can get this before you go. For the last couple of years, and I know when you were at the Touchdown Club, John Stemler and Ray Breakbill, a lot of my Vandy guys at the club, were giving you credit for talking about Vandy. And my friend Stephen Patrick Walsh, great Irish Catholic over in Atlanta, Vandy grad, said, ask Roman if he thinks Diego Pavia might be the most impactful player in terms of being that alpha dog in the locker room that demands everybody on that team play his ass off, or he's going to push you even harder. But you've been ahead of the curve.
I appreciate that. And look, the Vandy people recognize it too, because for a long time, I was the only one that would talk about Vandy on my network. Yep. And now we talk about them every week. So it's all good. It's fine. You know, the short answer is maybe. I know that they would like to try and look, I think Diego Pavia deserves a lot of credit for who he is. Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator, what they bring over there. But I got to give Clark Lee a lot of credit. I watched that SEC Any Given Saturday off on Netflix. I learned a lot about Clark Lee. I learned he's got dog mentality. I learned that he brings us such an edge that he doesn't always show to the public. In front of the podium, he looks a lot more stale, a lot more, whitewashed, but he's not like that at all. He's definitely a defensive guy. He's definitely really, really knows how to get after it, and I applaud him for that. And to be honest with you, the reason why Vandy looks so different this year is because they are. The offensive line's playing good. The D-line is better. They have way more weapons on the outside that can actually win in one-on-one situations. Diego Pavia is actually throwing the football better as well. He's not having to carry the football and run it either as much as he did in last year's times. I think if we looked at the numbers of the stats, he had over half of his carries down. He's like more than half less carries so far this season, and still being productive. And so that allows him to be healthier, because when he started getting beat up by the end of the year last year is when they really struggled. So if they can keep him healthy, keep him upright, allow other guys to carry the ball more and do more for the offense, and allow that Diego's still going to do him, but we're just not asking him to do it as much. Yeah. Then naturally he's going to be healthier and he'll have a better chance to lead us to more wins down the road. That was my problem with Oklahoma. And now I look up John Mateer's hurt out of nowhere. And so can Oklahoma survive without their quarterback as well? I think all these are going to be questions that have got to get answered. And this is why they don't run the quarterback that much in the NFL, because you can't let them get hurt.
Yeah. Roman, I know we promised you've got a meeting you got to get ready for. Before you go, though, and thank you more than
5-7 minutes.
Thank you more than for sharing your time with us. Let people know about your foundation. John and Matt and Brenden, he has a great foundation. He gives back to people in Prattville and Charlotte, and people need to know how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, man, it's Harper's Hope for One Foundation. My mom and I started many moons ago, and we still keep it going. So we still raise money on a year-to-year basis. We give it all away for a lot of Christmas drive stuff, and then we also have a reading initiative we try and stay on top of. So that's what we do in the short end of it, man. I'm still kind of passionate, but I got way too many kids and stuff going on now. I used to be way more into it, because I had more time, and but this is just the chapter I'm in my life right now, where it's a lot of football, and when I'm not doing football, I'm doing kids, and when I'm not doing kids, I'm trying to catch back up on football. So like you said, man, I work for a network and I don't even know anything about it. Like the scheduling, I'm like, dude, I don't know anything. So it's crazy, but yeah, this is like where my life is right now. It's busy, but it's a blessing, it's a job that a lot of others would covet, and I'm happy to say it's mine.
Well, look, my wife Audrey said if you ever need volunteers for your reading program, that's her skill.
Yes.
She will come to Charlotte, go wherever you are, and Markham will bring the smoker and we'll cook barbecue, brisket, and feed everybody, okay? Just let us
know. Deal.
That's a promise. Hey, take care. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man. Hold on now, Rob. Who you got this weekend? Who you taking? Alabama, Georgia? Come on, let's fire them off right now. Let's go.
I'm going to take Alabama in this game because I like the fact that they can rush the passer better than Georgia's done. And in this league, you got to do that. last year Georgia was 15th in the league in rushing, and they still won the conference. And I think Jam Miller is going to be – Gary Harris is going to join us in just a minute from Tuscaloosa, Channel 23. You probably met Gary before, and we're going to break that down. But I'm going with Bama in this one just because
– All right, two more. Run them through. All right, LSU at Ole Miss.
I am taking Ole Miss to win this game because they're if LSU had an offense, we'd have seen it by now. Okay, that's how I see it. The old saying down in South Alabama.
I'm not mad at that.
If a dog will bite, he'll do it when he's a pup.
Yeah, I agree. Sean Payton used to always talk about it. He said, I don't ever have to worry about a dog that don't bite when he's a puppy. I ain't got to worry about him biting when he's later. If he ain't bite when he's a puppy, he ain't gonna bite later. All right, and then I want to. What about the other sneaky game? Notre Dame at Arkansas.
Man, I watched Arkansas. I went to that game against Memphis the other day. I wonder about how fragile that locker room is and how many guys have checked out. As a coach, I love Marcus Freeman. You met his agent's father, Wayne Dowdle, at the Touchdown Club. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna take Notre Dame. I'm gonna take Notre Dame. I'm just a big Marcus Freeman fan, and he will have that team fighting for their lives. I'm concerned about Arkansas just because of what I've seen the last couple of weeks. And say hello to Gary Harris from Tuscaloosa. Say hello to Roman.
Gary, how you doing, man? I'm going to get off the phone here, man. I just want to hear everybody else's opinion sometimes.
Enjoy listening to you.
No, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, man.
Got to get you on my show soon.
Well, let me know, man. Let Rob know.
I heard you on with Christian Miller this week. That was good.
Yeah, man. We're going to connect. So I'm going to try and get on Christian with him today, later on this afternoon. So anyways, reach out to Rob. He'll give you my number. So,
yeah.
All right, man. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Roman. Have a great day. Gary Harris, Channel 23, WVUA, Tuscaloosa, Tide 100.9, Tider Insider TV on Tuesday nights with Rodney Orr. Man, I'm taking Alabama because I think they can rush the passer better. And my friend Johnny Haygood from Eufaula, Yancey Pierre, that's his big guy. And he knew Courtney Upshaw coming up too over there. His dad was the dentist there in Eufaula. I like to put the local flavor on these games, but man, 63-3 for Georgia since 2020, 1-4 against Bama since then. Jam Miller going to be back?
Yeah, Jam. I expect he was not listed at all in the injury report, but he's been practicing it without limitations, and Tim Keenan III will play, and so obviously Jamarian Latham won't. They'd hope to get him back, the outside linebacker from nearby Pickens County. And I got some news on Pickens County and Gordo in a moment that you guys may not be aware of, but I'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, I think Jam Miller's going to be back. I listened to you, Rob, and you can imagine I've taken some pushback this week. I took Georgia on Tuesday night on Tider Insider TV, 35-28. And the good news is when I've picked against Alabama more times than not, I've been wrong. So, I try to tell the Alabama fans that, more times than not. I think a couple of times that I picked against them, I was right. But most of the time, and it isn't often. I mean, obviously, Alabama's been so dominant over the last, 16, 17 years. But I just think that, Kirby's 1-6 against Alabama. Georgia's 1-9 in its last 10. The last time Alabama played in Athens, in fact, Kirby told an interesting story after practice on Tuesday. He was on the Alabama sideline. And they asked him what he remembered about that game. He said, well, I remember Derrick Henry, and I remember just our defense was so mad late in that game. They didn't like giving up many rushing yards. And, Nick Chubb had busted. He didn't say Chubb by name, but he said Georgia busted a long touchdown run. I think it was like 83-yarder or whatever it was. And it put Georgia at 100 rushing yards. And he said the linebackers and the defensive linemen were wanting to fight each other on the sideline. They were so mad and upset, even though they were up 30 points or whatever. Mm-hmm. He said that's when you got a good team, when it means that much to players. But, for Kirby, when you think about it, guys, Alabama really provided him with a great opportunity to be the defensive coordinator under Nick Saban. Really provided him with his opportunity to go to Georgia. Because if Mark Richt wins that 2012 SEC championship game that Georgia lost, in the final seconds, or if he wins in 2015 over Alabama, who knows? Maybe he goes on and remains the coach for a few more years, and that might change the trajectory of where Kirby wound up. You know what I'm saying? So Alabama, to some degree, I think Georgia's inability to get over the hump with Mark Richt had a lot to do with what Nick Saban was doing at Alabama. And I think that provided the opportunity for Kirby, who could have left sooner, Rob. You know, he had some other opportunities for head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
But he was patient, and it worked out. But, you know, let's say Georgia wins that game. They were undefeated, I think, third or fourth in the country at the time. That might change their season. 2015 might turn out different for Georgia. Rick might get 2 or 3 more years. Kirby might wind up taking a job somewhere else, you know? So it's kind of wild. But I went with Georgia this week. Let me say this. I think Alabama's good enough to win. I don't think it's a talent deficit issue. It wouldn't surprise me if Alabama does win, but I think Georgia will win. I just think he won't say it. He's a lot like Saban. I do believe him. It's not personal to Kirby, but he's aware that he's 1-6 against Alabama. Yeah. And I think that playing in Athens at Sanford Stadium, I just think things line up well for Georgia. So I'm going to take the Bulldogs.
Matt, jump in here because there's a lot of really big games. Of course, this one's the number 1 in the country, I think, nationally for sure.
Game Day doesn't think so, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, they're
go ahead.
But SEC Nation does,
right.
And that's where Roman will be.
Yeah.
But Gary, I kind of agree with you and everything you said. I think this is kind of a must-win for Georgia personally because it's home. I still think, I said earlier, Gary, the Florida State loss keeps getting better. I think Bama, if they play well here, end up 10-2, 9-3. I still think they're going to get in the playoffs. I really believe that because I think the league is better. But I think this is a Kirby game. He's not saying it, but for what you just described, Gary, I think this game means, last year they came back and they lost the way they did. I just think Georgia wins a close game at home. The game I'm really intrigued about, guys. First, I want to make a statement about how hard Missouri running backs run. I want to tell Roman that I forgot to, but I watched Missouri, South Carolina last week, guys. Yeah. I'm going to tell you what, that Hardy for Missouri, unbelievable. I mean, he's almost got some scatterboo in him. He's so hard to bring down. He breaks tacklers. And I thought South Carolina played a really good football game, and Missouri still found a way to win that football game. But I'm intrigued. Tennessee, Mississippi State this weekend. We're not talking about the Bulldogs. They're 4-0. They had a quality win against Arizona State, who's a top 25 team. I think that's going to be really interesting. The game's in Starkville. It would not shock me if Mississippi State took that game down against the Vols. And I think highly of the Vols. They're a kick away from being probably a top 3 or 4 team right now because of the way they played against Georgia. So this schedule is so fun, guys, every week. I mean, I know we're talking about Alabama, Georgia, but, man, I mean, Auburn, A&M. The way A&M goes and wins at South Bend, Marcel Reed is one of the funnest quarterbacks to watch in the country. Yeah. This league is loaded, guys.
Yeah. Gary, I'm with him. And, and by the way, Mississippi State's going to remain one of Alabama's annual opponents until the 4-year review comes up.
Can I say something about that, Rob?
I do, because you love that rivalry.
Yeah, there's been a lot of – and I'm in the minority here. Most Alabama fans that I've heard from, oh, man, I want to play LSU every year. That's become the rivalry with Saban, and I get it. But I'm with you, Rob. I like a couple of reasons. One, I worked in the state of Mississippi, in Meridian and Jackson for, a number of years. I covered Mississippi State. I covered Ole Miss, covered Southern Miss. So I've got, some time in that state. And obviously you knew Auburn and Tennessee were going to be 2 of the 3. And the question, was it going to be LSU or was it going to be Mississippi State? And most people that I had read or listened to said LSU. I thought it would be Mississippi State. And I think, again, there's a lot of talk about, the Iron Bowl, but, they didn't play for 40 years. From 1908 to 1948, Alabama and Auburn didn't play. Alabama, Tennessee, granted, that's a long term. But Mississippi State actually is the team that Alabama – now, they haven't played them the last couple of years but that's the team that Alabama had played the most. And these 2 campuses, in terms of geography, are the closest in, it's 84 or 5 miles between the campus in Starkville and the campus in Tuscaloosa. And I love that little trip on a Highway 82. I love going to Mississippi State. So I'm glad to see Mississippi State back on the schedule. And plus, from a standpoint of football-wise, not that Mississippi State's not a good program. They're having a great year. But you think about more times than not, if you've got to play LSU, Tennessee, and Auburn every year, that's pretty big grind. And so I'm glad Mississippi State's back on the schedule for Alabama.
Yeah, and I do too. And it's such a close game. And when Mississippi State wins, like you say, it's epic when they beat Alabama. And when Alabama lost under Nick Saban, it was epic. And that's a term that, you got to use in the proper context. But Gary, looking at this league top to bottom, when Vanderbilt down where they normally occupy the cellar and have nobody even close to them, they are so much better. And we got that game coming up in a few weeks. They'll come to Tuscaloosa, Vanderbilt I'm speaking of. When you look at Alabama, the initial shock of losing to Florida State the way they lost and how they've come back. It's been against ULM. It's been against Wisconsin. Not two top 10 teams for sure. But the one constant, even in the loss to Florida State, was Ty Simpson's hustle.
Yeah, we said, I think after the first week that Ty Simpson played well enough at Florida State. He didn't play great.
Yeah,
but he played. I thought he played well enough. Thought not enough people around him played well enough for them to win that game. But I felt good about him coming out of that game. First ever start, hostile environment. Things aren't going your way. And you're right, Rob. He just continued to play. And then we saw the 17.
Well, Gary has been kidnapped. But Matt, I look at Ty Simpson. He's a coach's son. And his dad's been coaching at UT Martin, I guess 20 years now, 21 years. That's something to speak of.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I frozen up?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
You're back.
Somebody tried to call in on me.
Yeah. Hit that airplane mode thing.
But I'll keep talking unless I'm
you're good.
told otherwise. But this is his first SEC start, and it's on the road at Athens.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, I'm frozen up here.
Yeah, you're
Somebody
fine.
tried to beep in on me with a phone call, and it's
hit the airplane mode thing on there, and that's what'll stop that. I learned that from Brenden. I didn't know that, but when he comes back, but Matt, there's just a lot of angles that you can take. But everybody thought Alabama against Florida State. Oh, the lack of effort, whatever. But Ty Simpson's hustle, and Gary, I know you were talking about that, and Gary Harris, you're back with us.
Yeah, I don't know. Usually when a phone call tries to come through, it doesn't shut it down, but it did. But no, I was just agreeing with what you guys said about Ty. But what I was pointing out is even though he's been in the program for 4 years as a starter, he's still only got 3 starts. This will be his first SEC start, and it's going to come at Sanford Stadium in Georgia. So it's a new challenge for him to see how he handles that. Yeah. And as you pointed out, Rob, the competition, defensively is going to go up a lot. So this is going to be another litmus test for him. I think the way he's played at home the last 2 weeks has been phenomenal, but he's going to face something on Saturday night that he has not faced yet in his career. And that's an SEC opponent, a top 5 SEC opponent on the road. And we'll see how he handles it.
Yeah. Matt.
Gary, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is his completion rate like 90% right now, or it's something ridiculously high? I'm talking about Ty Simpson.
Yeah, it's, well, the last, let's see, he was 17 of 17, and then he's got 5 incompletions in the last 2 games total, and I think 3 of those were drops. So, he's been incredibly accurate, and not just, a lot of times you look at a completion percentage, and it's how far is the ball going in the air? We know, but he's throwing the ball down the field. I mean, he's moving it down the field.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And like I said, in the Wisconsin game, Ryan Williams is awesome, had an incredible game. He dropped a touchdown pass that hit him right in the hands on a skinny post. And then Brooks dropped one on a 3rd down that he might still be running if he catches that ball. So Ty has been phenomenal. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I thought he would play well. I did not expect him to play the way he's playing right now this early in his career as a starter.
Yeah. All right, one thing, Caden Proctor, how do you rate him as being able to block edge rushers? Is that a strength of his or a weakness? Because it doesn't.
I wouldn't say, Rob, it's a strength. I think he struggled with it at times. I think speed has given him, when you get beat off those edge rushers, they get you on the first step and they get out, side of you, you're in trouble. And I think he's had trouble with speed to power. I think he's had trouble where guys come off that first step and then he gets out on his back a little bit. Then they just power him, even though he's 360 pounds.
Yeah.
I think he's a really talented player. I still like Caden Proctor. I think he's a winning SEC tackle, but he has had trouble at times with protecting the passer. And that's something that, again, this Georgia front to me is not what we've seen from Georgia in the past. Same thing with Alabama. I think Alabama's okay up front on defense. I don't think they will what they've been. I don't think Georgia's what it's been. But the pass protection in this game, I think is going to be critical to who wins, because neither Georgia or Alabama have been great at rushing the passer this year.
Yeah.
Alabama in the last game was much better, but neither
Mhm.
one of them have been. So if you got one of these teams that has success rushing on Saturday night and gets the other quarterback in harm's way, I think that team can win the game. So the pass rush could be critical.
Yeah, and then you look around college football. I saw an interesting stat. The top 7 teams in the transfer portal rankings so far this season are a combined 27-0, and LSU brought in 12 4-stars in the portal. There's so much change. I mean, again, we look at Vanderbilt. You look at I watched Memphis and Arkansas play Saturday. Memphis had 70 players, new players. That's portal, high school, and everything like that they brought in, including that quarterback from Nevada whose journey has been just one for the ages. And I think the interest in college football, Gary, is the SEC makes the 9-game announcement, and the ACC, oh, we're fine. Boom, they do it. We're all getting on the same page. And now we got, as much as we thought the SEC was pulling away in the parking lot, leaving the ACC behind, we might have a top 5, top 10 showdown coming up with Miami and Florida State. You were born in Miami. The U, you're starting to see that. Matt's got the O with his son on the staff with Dan Lanning. We're going back to the future. I mean, I'm looking for Christopher Lloyd on the 10 o'clock news.
Well, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Rob and Matt. I mean, it's for those of us that, I was born in 64, and I was born in Miami and lived in all over Florida as a kid. But going through the 80s, that was the rivalry, man.
Yeah.
That was the game. Who won that game? You thought, well, they're going to win the national championship and play for it. And now you look at these two teams, seeing what Florida State did to Alabama, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I think Miami might be the most complete team I've seen this year. I mean, when you look at quarterback play, when you look at line of scrimmage, defense, offense, special teams, I mean, it looks like the Miami teams of the 80s and 90s into the early 2000s. So, yeah, what a matchup that's going to be. But, the SEC, Matt was talking about the grind, and I agree. There's nothing else like in college football. 1 through 16, you got to strap it on every week. But in these other leagues, there are certainly some marquee teams. Yeah. And Miami and Florida State, I think, Miami, I think right now my mind is to pick to win the national championship. I think they're the best team in the country.
Yeah, and I heard a term yesterday with Heath Klein with Chuck Oliver's show. He said, you just hope they don't get crystal-balled, kind of like Dabo.
He's had his moments, yeah.
The Georgia Tech game, and I'm going, but I found out the key for the funding, this new president they have has opened up the vault and given them everything they need, and it's called U Healthcare. The U Healthcare. Apparently, they have just a ton of money, and they're giving them what they hadn't had.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yes, it's just amazing.
In the modern day game of college, you come up with the money, and the winds seem to follow.
Shake the cup, Matt Dean.
Hey, Rob, can I say something real quick? Because I know how much you love high school football.
Yeah, the 8 Mile War.
Major news. I don't know if you guys have seen it. For the first time in 100 years, they're not going to play the 8 Mile War on Friday night. Wow. It has been canceled. Again, a little background for our viewers that aren't familiar with it. Pickens County and Gordo are separated by 8 miles. Yeah. Gordo's the bigger school. It's a Class 4A school. Pickens County is a very small school, Class 1A school, but a great 1A school. And Michael Williams is the head coach there now, played at Alabama, played in the NFL. Yeah. And they're young this year. I don't think they were going to be as competitive as they've been. And Pickens County has won this game numerous times. But this week, there was they have these dress-up days for these schools, and the Gordo cheerleaders put out a picture. It was like Safari Day. It was like, I forget the theme, but it had something to do with, obviously being Pickens County. But there was a photo that went out of some racially insensitive, to many racially insensitive dress, with some bananas and monkeys and things like that. So Pickens County made the decision to cancel the game this year. So it's unfortunate. I mean, I certainly understand their feelings on it. I was hoping maybe if there was some stress there that maybe they'd play the game without fans.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'd even play it in Tuscaloosa. Central's at Gardendale this week. Maybe you could have played it at Falcon Field or something like that. But they canceled the game, which is a huge story here locally for us.
Yeah, I mean, because high school football, you can't beat it. I mean, I absolutely love it, and that is big news.
And I don't think those cheerleaders meant anything by it. I really don't.
Yeah.
My thought process is it's Safari Day or whatever, and
8 miles apart. Yeah.
But I understand the visual is not good, and I certainly don't blame people if they say, "Hey, I'm offended by some of that." Wardrobe choices.
Hate to see that happen. I mean, but look, that's the great thing about Matt. Gary covers the high school all over Alabama. Like you and Kevin Skarbinski have a better reading on high school sports, and need to get you and Kevin on those TV games, doing them together.
Well, I used to do a lot of the. Of course, Kevin does a great job since the Alabama Public Television. Back when Raycom had the contract, I did state championship basketball and football games, and I miss it. I really do. I enjoyed it a lot, but it's big. It's big in the South, and certainly we're all disappointed. I think that game's not going to be played on Friday night.
Yeah,
but
I agree with you. Well, look, what are you talking about on your show today, and let them know how they can follow you.
Well, our pal Ellis Johnson's going to be with me, and man, he can break it down.
Oh my God, I love that guy.
Yeah, because
Tom Cruise.
It's coach speak. But it's done in a way that he's not trying to impress you with X's and O's, but he's giving you insight. So I think the layman can understand it. Also, Jeff Spiegel, my pal from ABC 3340, and phone calls. And, of course, a lot of people are giving me a hard time about picking Georgia. But, again, I keep trying to remind them that's probably a good thing. I don't have a great – I do remember picking against them in the 2010 Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
And I was right. And I shouldn't have been right. Alabama should have won that game.
Yeah.
But I picked against them in 2011 at Penn State, AJ's first start on the road, and Alabama won that game.
Yeah.
I picked against them in 2015 against Georgia. I picked against them in at least one SEC championship game against Georgia. So my track record's not great.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They don't lose very often, so that's why. I mean, it's pretty good. But look, Gary, thank you so much for sharing time with us. We're going to say hello to our sponsors. And Matt, thank you as well. Great stuff. I'm going to say hello to our sponsors. Matt, we'll do it again next week. Appreciate everything. Hey, get out and about Poplar and Houston Levy. You're looking for a car, a truck, an SUV. Go to Landers Ford. Ask for Brad Bellamy, the general manager. The process, it ain't the doing in life that's so bad. It's the dreading. Just call him. Say, hey, I want to get a new vehicle. They'll walk you through it step by step. Open Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And they're like one of the top 5 in the country selling expeditions. They've got the Broncos. Ladies, if you want one of those robin egg blue Broncos, the retro with the white wall tires, you can get them. Ask for Brad Bellamy, GM at LandersFordMemphis.com. They'll deliver anywhere. Right down the street from our good friends at Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company on the historic square on the square in Collierville, Tennessee. That's Memphis, folks. Just drive out Germantown into Collierville. There's no store like it. They're bringing in boxes every day. Men's and women's barber coats, clothing, shirts, Filson luggage, boots, over 7,000 pairs of men's and women's and kids' boots. They've got the greatest selection of duck heads, Genteel pants, polos, blazers. This Genteel brand is incredible. You're going to love it. Get out there, talk to Charles Hall, the owner, Raven Carpenter, J.M. Huffman, Lydia, the whole crew. They'll make you feel right at home. HewlettandDunn.com. And Rumble Boxing, hey, how you fight is how you live. You better be working out, engage both sides of the brain, 45-minute classes. They got weights. You got PT. It's like land swimming. Rumble Boxing Gym, Union and McLean, Midtown Memphis. And you have trouble sleeping, you have some pain, they've got everything for you. Pro Athletes Hemp Association. Our friend Dave Bartu, lights out sleep gummies. They got the energy ones. They got the chill. I took an energy one yesterday. Man, it makes me focus, okay? Most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. Greatest country in the history of the world. Go out and do great things today. For executive producer Brenden Martin, I'm Rob Browne. Watch this channel every chance.